all of that silence. I lost my live feed in YouTube, and I had to reload it. So please forgive me for all that silence. Blog Talk Radio. So many of you know that we went out and we saged the community. That's what we did. And we saged against infirmities. We saged against illness. We saged against disease. We saged against violence and crime in the community. We saged against many things. And so that's what I did, Carnival. That's what I did, Mardi Gras Day. And to now be where we are today, to now be in the state that we're in today, to now be confronting what we're confronting today, it's all just prophetic to me. It's all just prophetic. All the activities that we had done in the house of the Divine Prince since Halloween, really, are now making sense and are now lining up to connect with what we're confronted with, what we are dealing with today. And Takia Jet, do it. If you're led to do it, a spirit is telling you to do it. If it's genuine, if it's authentic, if it's real, do it. Um, I've seen someone, post something yesterday and it wasn't real. It wasn't authentic. You could tell it was for show. You could tell it was for likes. You could tell it was because they had nothing else to do. And so they decided to post something that looked spiritual on Instagram. But if it's real, if it's authentic, if it's in your heart, if you're led to do it, beloved, do it. Just do it. And I appreciate you all for coming back, for returning. I lost the feed for a moment. I appreciate you, Seven the Gentlemen, Taste with Tasha, Kiona D. Carter, Takia Jet, Danette Gibbs, and those who are still with me and present and listening on my phone lines. I'm grateful for you. Even through the technical glitches, you all just stick right in, or you call right back. So I'm hopeful, prayerful that my audience will return. We all know that somebody is upset about me broadcasting, and I'm over it. I just keep doing it. I'm over being concerned about your being concerned about what I'm broadcasting. So I just keep doing it, and I do it for my community. I do it for the ancestors. I do it for my own spiritual growth and spiritual maturity. Caller, I hope I addressed your questions about blocking the brother and the brother's energy, and him bringing that into to your space, literally and figuratively. I'll come back to you momentarily, 804, to be sure that you don't have another question, comment, or request. I invite my YouTube listeners who have something to say to call me at 845 277 9143, 845 277 9143. I'm being led to say right now to my readers and wannabe readers and spiritualists out there, be very careful about trying to read the times, trying to read the future as it relates to this virus. Be very careful. One of the rules of reading is that you don't self read. That's the first thing. Number two, that you don't make it a habit, that you don't start playing around with your tools, with your runes, with your tarot cards, with your cowrie shells, with your palm nuts. Within the protocols of voodoo, one shouldn't be trying to throw a divination more than once in a moon cycle. More than once in a moon cycle. And many are Now I lost my Blog Talk Radio feed. I start talking and then one goes out and then the other goes out. So give me a sec. I'm trying to get my Blog Talk Radio back in. Come on, Blog Talk Radio. Oh, wow. Come on, come on, come on. Forgive me, YouTube. I'm trying to get my Blog Talk Radio people back. Come on now. My Skype. Oh, okay. Here we go. Give me a second. Give me a second. Come on, Skype. Kick
Since it
in.
appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
Thank you kindly. Read yourself, but it's also not a good idea to overread, to try and re-ask the same questions more than once, trying to either get the response that you want, that you desire, but also pushing spirit, prodding spirit to sort of speak when the timing just might not be right. So resist the notion of overusing your tools, of trying to read yourselves, of trying to read the virus, of trying to read the conditions that are going on in society right now, and just activate your third eye. Just allow spirit to come to you in your dream state, to come to you in your third eye, to speak to you in your meditative state, and then write that down, journal that down. I'm grateful that even in the readings that I've done in the last week, no one's really asked me about that. In fact, no one has ever asked me about, the virus in the course of their consultations. People are mostly concerned about themselves, their spiritual evolution, their spiritual growth, and then that of their families and their friends and their loved ones. People are mostly concerned about what do I do now? How do I move forward now? How do I activate in the now and then keep that uh, going, no matter what is happening right now or not happening right now. So I'm grateful for that. But I'm led by spirit to speak directly to the practitioners, the wannabe practitioners that are out there just experimenting with things. It could be a very dangerous thing for you to try and tarot card the virus, um, and not interpret what you're seeing correctly, what you're seeing properly. I also advise against turning over tarot cards when you're not doing a legitimate reading. I also advise against not utilizing your stones, your cowrie shells, your other divination tools when you're not actively involved in a real, authentic divination. One, it sets up a precedence with yourself, your environment, people around you, and the tool that this is what you're for. This is how I use you, and nothing else. They're not tools. They're not something that we grab right now to sort of pass the time. If you want to study your cards, read the books that come with your cards. Read Secret Teachings of the Ages, which is a tool that I use in teaching not just tarot, but astrology and divination in general. Secret Teachings of the Ages by Manly P. Hall is a great book to study if you really want to study the tarot cards, symbolism, and the language that's being spoken. But I'm grateful for my crafters and my artisans like Tates with Tasha who are, utilizing their time right now to pray and meditate into these stones and these minerals and these gemstones and these crystals. And Tasha makes wonderful, wonderful jewelry. So please give her some play, give her some acknowledgement in social media. and many others. Marcus Art, who often shows up in chat. I don't know if Marcus is with us today. Is another profound artisan out of Chicago. uh, Marcus Akinlana here in New Orleans is another profound artist from Chicago, now living and existing in New Orleans. And they are taking their anxiety and their energy and their love and their hopefulness, and they are putting it into these stones and these crystals, charging these stones and these crystals for us, and are then packaging them and sending them out to you. So please support our artisans and our practitioners that work and pray with light and crystal and water and air and fire and spirit. I'm truly grateful for you and your projection of healing in this moment in time space. This is a time to be, and to be all that we can be, but indeed to be well, to be still, in some cases to be quiet, to be creative, to be hopeful, to be calm, to be kind, to be safe, to be happy, to be patient. This is the time to be love. This is the time to be neighborly, to be proactive, to be available. Maybe not necessarily physically available, but to be available by phone, by chat, by Skype, by Google Duo, by WhatsApp. Now is the time to be peace. Now is the time. Respect the voodoo. Please give me your questions, your comments, your requests. You can type them in all capital letters in the chat. Kiona will help me to see them and identify them. You can also call me now on my phone lines at area code 845 277 9143. 845 277 9143. As always, I have many people looking at me right now, loving at me right now, hating at me right now. But I also appreciate your questions, your comments, your requests, your active participation. I'm buffering, I'm buffering. There we go. Welcome, YouTube. Please forgive me. I had a little moment of buffering, but we are back. Danette Gibbs lives in Atlanta, and she says West End MARTA Station has huge spiritual worker sign promoting business, and she disagrees. Now, Danette, I haven't been to Atlanta since I haven't been to Atlanta since 1999. 99, yeah. I haven't been to Atlanta since 1999. That's the last time I've been to the West End MARTA Station. If you can get a picture of that safely, I would love to see that. I see your disagreement. Um, I'm not very quick to just jump on the bandwagon because I would like to at least see it and see what it is that you're talking about. I have seen, or call me. The call in number is area code 845 277 9143. Call me, Danette. 845 277 9143. Mute your YouTube and pick up your phone and call me at 845 277 9143. Now, I compared that to churches who, have billboards on the side of the highway, you know, advertisements, leaflets at the grocery mart, TV commercials. You don't see a lot of them, relatively speaking. You don't see a whole lot of advertisements, uh, maybe as you did back in maybe the 90s. Um, but you still see them. And for the most part, unless you're really spiritually, religiously inclined, um, you're aware of churches or organizations, most people don't see them. Most people don't acknowledge them. most people don't pay a whole lot of attention to them. So I will be curious to see it. I would be curious to see it. I've seen some psychic reading ads, for instance, on bus stops in New Orleans, I believe. Um, it's no big deal. I'm not sure how well they're used. I'm not even sure how popular that is and they are as an idea. It might be something I might want to look into, but I will be curious to see exactly what it is that um, you're not feeling about this particular project. Where are you? Call me at 845-277-9143. 845-277-9143. 845-277-9143. 845-277-9143. Press the number 1 on your telephone keypad and I'll open your mic. Divine self healing, peace and love, beloved. I didn't see you there at first. She says, as I understand, you said you do not self read. No, no. I allow spirit to speak to me. I allow spirit to speak to me. Sometimes that comes in a dream. Sometimes when I'm working with my stone, working with my crystals, in my meditation, spirit might speak to me. I might be in a cleansing bath, in a sweet bath, spirit, and I take a lot of baths, by the way. I'm not a shower guy. Spirit might speak to me, but no, I don't throw cards for myself. I don't throw shells for myself. It's against protocol. I don't pound palm nuts for myself. The only form of divination that you would call self divination is I Ching. The Roman numeral I or the large, the capital I, and then Ching. I Ching. And with the I Ching, you throw said amount of coins or sticks. An older, more traditional way of performing I Ching is with sticks. But we now do it with coins. With coins. And just like Ifa, just like the Fa, you're going to get a certain number of houses. In Fa or Ifa, we might call that Odu. And you throw your coins in I Ching, you make a mark. You make a solid line or a broken line. You throw your coins again in I Ching. You throw a line, a solid line or a broken line, and you do that 6 times, and then you get your reading. You get your house, and then that house has to be interpreted specifically to you. Now, I find I Ching to be probably one of the most accurate, uh, personally self reading tools that you can even utilize. So, if you want to use something, um, I would use I Ching. Please forgive me. I'm trying to type and think and communicate and see and respond all at the same time. There are free online I Ching sites like ichingonline.net, for instance, is one of them. And it allows you to use the I Ching without without throwing your coins or without, throwing down your sticks. It virtually throws your coins for you. And then after you've thrown your coins, click your throw coins verbally, virtual button. You then create a house or what is called a hexagram. I just did it for myself. I'm not going to tell you what question I asked. And the house that I received is hexagram 43. Hexagram 43. Now, the online, ichingonline.net will also allow you to throw your own coins and then input your answer or your response, whatever, whether it was a solid line or a broken line, into the system, and then it will give you the detailed hexagram. Again, a similar scenario would be the fa do. You palm, you you beat the palm nuts, or you throw the shells, and you form a house, or you form a do, and then it has a body of information, a body of contextual response from spirit. So hexagram 43, for instance, means breakthrough, a deluge from heaven. The superior person rains fortune upon those in need, then moves on with no thought of the good he has done. I'm going to read that again. The superior person rains fortune upon those in need, then moves on without no thought of the goods he has done. And remember, this is called breakthrough, kuai, breakthrough, a deluge from heaven. That's your cup running over. My cup runneth over. And the superior person reigns fortune, does good, shares love, shares resources on those in need. The issue must be raised before an impartial authority. This is what my hexagram said. The issue must be raised before an impartial authority. That's their response to the question. Oh my goodness, I have to answer the door because that's probably my food delivery. Ah, forgive me, Block Talk Radio. I'll be back. Greetings. Thank you. You can just leave everything right there. I'm doing a live broadcast, so I wanted them to know Walmart delivery is working. Thank you, bro. I got a lot of respect for you. Thank you for. Thank you for your patience. But I gotta have food. I'm not going to anybody's store. Forgive me, Blog Talk Radio. Now I have to wash my hands before I sit back down in this chair. So I had to get my delivery because you can't go out. We got a stay-at-home order. I got a tub of bleach water going in here and some soap so that I can clean my hands. Occasionally I'll take a towel and take my bleach water solution and I'll wipe that door down or any surface that I might have touched or made some kind of contact with. I'm even bleaching down the phone because I touched and held the phone as he delivered my product. So I'm grateful for your patience, your participation, Blog Talk Radio and YouTube Live. If you're not on YouTube Live, you missed it. That was my Walgreens delivery. Not Walgreens, Walmart delivery. Because I'm not going out to no store. Don't have to. You heard me talk about going back to the old school pipes and bongs because ain't nobody walking to get no papers and no blunt wraps. I found a source, a smoke shop online yesterday that sells flavored wraps. So I got a whole box of 25 coming in the mail. In the mail. So I don't even have to go to the corner store for nothing. I don't have to go to the grocery store for nothing. I'm not going anywhere. Oh, you want to know what that is? That is violet water. Violet water. It's like Florida water, but it's made from violet flowers. Violet water. Bet you ain't never seen that before. So thank you so much for your patience, your love, your time, your energy. If you have a question, a comment, or a request, please type it in all capital letters right now so that I can see it and respond to it. And Kiona will throw up that red question mark to help me to see it, and I'll respond to your questions or comments. You can also call me at area code 845-277-9143. Again, that's 845-277-9143. Now listen, if you're just listening, please mute your own mic, mute your own phone, because I get feedback from that. My new caller, area code 678. Who's calling and where are you calling from?
Prince,
Yes, beloved. Could you say that for me again?
DivinePrince, this is Vanity.
Hey, Danette. Thank you so much for calling in. I certainly appreciate you.
I am so sorry. I had my job just called me because we're going to try to go ahead and start working from home. But yes, I'm from Atlanta. I actually live in Stone Mountain, and it's my aunt have been 50 years. She's been in the Western Mall for 50 years residing.
Yes.
And we were talking about what's going on in the world, and of course we talk about spiritual things
Yeah.
nightly.
Mm-hmm.
And she was telling me it's this big, beautiful sign at the West End train station that a spiritualist just took upon themselves to hang up, and I was surprised that it was still up, but I might drive by because I hadn't actually seen it myself. My aunt told me because she, like I said, she lives in the West End area.
Yes.
And she was like, I kind of was worried about it because the last couple of weeks I've been seeing a lot of spiritualists out on YouTube or promoting business, even communicating with me, and I'm like, and just something in my spirit just don't sit well. Because then it just confirms what you're saying. We should not be pulling these cards, doing reading on the coronavirus. I don't feel right with that
Mm-hmm.
myself. I
Yeah.
think it's dangerous.
It's dangerous. It's an outward sign of the carnalness, if you understand that word, that exists among culture and people today. Nothing is sacred anymore. With everyone having a camera, in their phone, everyone has a device. Nothing is sacred anymore. And so the idea of even prayer, let's take it away from just reading and divination, and reverse, change the words up, and let's use prayer. So the idea that we only approach God, we only approach spirit, we only approach ancestors for selfish needs, personal needs, petty needs. You know, that's what I mean when I say carnality. We're living in our flesh, immediate gratification. What can I get right now? What can I take advantage of right now? What can I hoard right now? And so, reading ourselves, first of all, is against the rules. I don't care what tradition you initiate in, study with, learn with. Reading ourselves is just not in the rules, not in the protocols. Reading for foolishness, reading for selfishness, reading because we don't have anything better to do. It's like invoking God or invoking spirit or invoking your ancestors for foolishness, for pettiness, for carnalness, for things that aren't important, for things that don't matter, for things that don't fortify spirit, that don't fortify life, we don't read for that. We don't consult spirit for that. We don't beg God for that, if you will. And so the notion that we sit around, and so I've seen some of those Jackson Square, French Quarter psychics, sit around on their milk crate and a little card table, and they may not have a customer at the time, and they're just throwing cards. They're just looking at cards. They're just playing with cards, and each time they do so, they are literally playing with their own fate. They're literally turning over your own fate each time you shuffle and then turn those cards over. I might shuffle my cards. Sometimes I shuffle my cards 15 minutes before I know someone's going to call me, before my appointment. And I'm shuffling and I'm shuffling, but I don't look at them. I don't turn them over. Then once I get into the call, I'll shuffle them, once or twice or three times more. Then I turn them over and I go into the reading. But I don't sit around and just turn cards over, just read people, read situations, read scenarios. It's just not the appropriate thing to do. And people will be tempted right now innocently because they're bored or are taking the time now to study the cards or study the traditions a little bit more. And you might be tempted to read people, places, and things, one, without the permission, and two, outside of what is contextually the appropriate thing to do. So it's just not a good idea. I've had really negative experiences occur in my life behind tarot cards. Behind tarot cards. So I don't suggest it. I've had my own experiences with it. Um, Had a very violent experience with it. I don't even want to recount the story again. I have recounted it in the past on a previous show. I don't really want to recount the story again. Um, but it's not a joke. So don't play around with them. Am I miss? I feel like I'm missing my questions in the chat. Let's see. Thank you, Kiona, for your help, your protection. Yeah, too many vampires, huh, Kiona? I see you. Someone asked about the flavored wraps, right? Were you just responding to what I said, or were you curious about where they're? Forgive the buffering. Forgive the buffering. Please forgive the buffering. So you're going to be read by your godparents or by a qualified practitioner or qualified elder. Reading yourself is just not advisable. Um, Someone else has to interpret what's being said on the table. The spirits speak through that person and present that energy to you. When we try and self read, you can't see yourself clearly. It's just like trying to see yourself dressed without a mirror. Yeah, you can dress in the dark. You might have a good idea about what you're grabbing and what you're putting on. But it takes an outside person to be the vessel to read you clearly and authentically and make that connection. Um, I don't necessarily suggest no, no, because pendulums. I'm answering the question about reading self with pendulums, because pendulums utilize delicious apple love, earth forces. So you got to remember when you're utilizing earth, you're pulling on elements: earth, water, fire, air, and mind. And those both have negative and a positive, a pro and a con, protons and the neutrons. So I don't suggest using the pendulum. Pendulums will swing consistently. Yes, no. A great deal like Obi Abata. But I don't suggest using them to self read. No, no, no. Using them to locate, using them to identify. Yes, but I used to use a pendulum to identify geographic locations on a map. I've used pendulums to identify names within a list, within the context of a document, or a particular energy, but not to self read. No, no. Am I missing any questions? Am I missing my questions? I still feel like I need to go back to the rap question. Okay, Keona did ask, what's the website to order the wraps, a box of 25 from? Kayla talk. Yes, I got hooked on flavored wraps. I'm a strong advocate against smoking, against tobacco products. I used to preach to the young people. Stop with the blunts. It's technology. Young black people don't start smoking early at the same rate as other ethnic groups. Blunts is a trick. I've said it on this show. Then I had a lover introduce me to blunts, flavored wraps. Without the tobacco, it's just the wrap, and it come in flavor. See, that's the trick. Flavor, convenience. This is about 5 years ago, and now I still got this blunt thing going on. This, and I'm going to break it. I am. I'm going to break it, but I like the flavored wraps. I just do. I just do. Do I have another question, comment, or request on Blog Talk Radio or on YouTube? And my callers, your mics are still open, by the way. So if you have something to say, just unmute. For being present with me for an hour and 40 minutes in the middle of your day on Wednesday, March 25th, 2020. Yes, Kiona, I see you, but what is your number? I don't see you on my phone line unless my desktop is slow. Kiona, are you on the phone for real? I don't see you. What is your area code? 323. Maybe I need to refresh that page. Oh, you are 323. Girl, I had no idea I was talking to you all that time. I had no idea I was talking to you. Can you imagine how many people I talk to every day, how many voices that I hear every day? It's a lot to memorize. Listen, if you all don't have questions, comments, or requests, I am going to end this show soon. How do you use the river water for spiritual work? Delish Apple Love, you trying to start some mess. And I say that with love because this is controversial.